Do you guys remember a time when everyone didn't walk around with a cell phone? Do you think there'll be a time when everyone's walking around with an AI device? Or is there going to be a time when we're walking around with an AI device plus our cell phone? AI tech companies are starting to bet big on AI dedicated hardware devices, such as the Rabbit R1 device, the Humane Pen, and then the OpenAI device that's rumored to be the iPhone of AI. Now, I don't really know what that means yet, but in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the Rabbit R1, the Humane Pen, and at the end of the video, I'll give my thoughts on whether or not this technology is needed and where I think it goes from here. So stay tuned. All right, so this is the Humane Pen trailer. They're calling this the Humane Experience, and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about when I say replacing cell phones and how that could possibly be the future as envisioned by the Humane team.
Isn't life about what we experience? What we smell?
Can I eat this?
Yes, dragon fruit.
Stop there. So this is actually really cool. You see she's wearing the pin here and she's looking at the dragon fruit and it's telling her, yeah, it's low in sugar, you can eat it. With the way that AI hallucinates a lot of times, that seems super dangerous for someone who could potentially eat something that they're allergic to or has some kind of reaction to. That frightens me a little bit. But I do think it's a super cool concept, especially if you're someone who's interested in counting calories or trying new foods that might be healthy for you. If the AI was done right, and without the hallucinations, of course, then that would be a super cool feature. It could count calories for anything that you're picking up and putting in your mouth. That would be super fun.
It's are low in sugar.
What we hear?
Hey, what should I get here?
我在这里该点什么呢？
What we
Go back to that translation thing. This is cool to always have this on you, but you can do this on apps on your smartphone. There's Bluetooth headsets that'll do this for you on the fly too. It's cool to always have that on you, but that's not necessarily groundbreaking.
What we see?
Oh. Capture this.
And that worries me too. Like, what angle is that camera hitting? I assume that's some kind of wide angle lens. I'm not really sure, but man, you would hate to really miss out on some cool moments because you were standing in the wrong position and the AI couldn't see it correctly. That's why I think those Ray-Ban glasses that Meta's putting out, I think that's sort of the way to go for AI, so it sees exactly what you're seeing and makes a little more sense. But I'm still waiting for an AR version of those glasses, something like the Google glasses that they were doing a while back. That's the AI hardware future I want.
And what we feel? What if we
For sonic speaker, I think this is cool. This basically just projects the sound within your own little bubble. But if someone's standing close to you, they're of course still going to hear it. Not a big fan of that. This does have Bluetooth support, so I'm sure you can connect a headset and things like that.
build more memories?
What are some fun things to do nearby?
Share more
Again,
moments.
these are a lot of things, except I'm going to go back here because this is my favorite thing on the pin. A lot of these apps, as you can see, like, what can I do that's fun around here? Where can I eat around here? Those are things that you can already do with your cell phone. So you don't necessarily need another device unless you just don't want to pull out your cell phone. I can do that with my watch. This projection thing here where they're projecting different things they can do in their hand and they can, of course, interact with that with hand movements. I think that is so cool. And it's not like it's a special thing. Like lots of things project images. But the fact that this feels kind of like a science fiction device, like just, I think that's super fun. And honestly, fun is exactly what I get from this. I just think it's a super cool feature to be able to project things on your skin.
Share more moments.
Can we play songs from the last time we were here?
Right here. Play the songs from the last time we were here. This would mean that this device knows where you're at all times. It knows when you were there last. It's also got a camera so it can see what you were doing. And it remembers what songs you were listening to last time you were there. That seems pretty intrusive, but I get what they're going for. If this was a personal AI that was running on local hardware inside of the pen and not connecting to the internet and sending everything out, then it would be a good idea. But that seems kind of dangerous right there.
What would happen if we rediscover our senses? What if devices weren't the experience?
Catch me up.
Lucy called and your flight is at 7 a.m.
Tell Lucy I'm on my way.
What if life
What if
was?
there's two Lucys in your contact list? How does that work? There's still a lot of questions
AI
to be asked
Pen.
about that. So that's the Humane AI Pen. I think it's a cool device. Again, I think the projection onto the hand is probably my favorite feature about this. But I like the idea of always having access to AI and not having to worry about pulling out my smartphone to ask a question. I think that's great. I just don't know how integrated I want to make this part of my life. Do I trust this thing to have access to my bank account information? No, not necessarily. Do I want it knowing where I'm at all times? No, not necessarily that either. So I'd have to see how the back end, I'm guessing it's probably a web portal that you access to make all your changes to the Humane Pen. I'd have to see what we have ability to do inside of that. And then I'd want to see the quality on the pictures and sort of how the angle takes the pictures. And can it do video? I didn't see that on there. It may be able to. I'm sure it probably can. I don't know. I'd like to see what you guys think about the Humane Pen. That one runs $700, and then there's like I think a $30 a month subscription fee on that. It's a bit out of the price range that I'm willing to pay for AI right now. Once AI gets fine-tuned a little bit more, maybe we get smarter models and we don't have to worry about hallucinations. And then we get confirmation on security stuff, like where is this information going? What are they doing with it? I'd want to see all that first. Or running on local hardware. Once models get to where they can run on local hardware that size and do everything that pen does, then yeah, that's amazing. That's great. But that's the AI pen for Humane. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Rabbit R1 device, a device that I think is probably going to be super popular. In fact, it's already sold out of at least the first 2 shipments. So that is exciting, and I'm starting to see more and more companies starting to make integrations for it. So let's take a look at that device, and then we'll discuss as we go. This is the Rabbit R1 device. As you can see, $200, no subscription, and actually they're on the 5th batch sold out already. That's amazing. Good for them. We're not going to play a trailer this time because they did basically a 25-minute keynote. They do have a trailer that shows off what the device looks like, but it doesn't really tell you what's going on. So we'll just scroll through the website and discuss it as we go. So this is a device. It's basically a walkie-talkie device. You've got your little button here. You can click the button and it'll flip the camera from the back to the front, or it'll shut it off. It'll flip it basically up or down. You've got a scroll wheel here so you can scroll through the text on the screen. You can talk to it, or you can use the built-in touch keyboard. It's running on a customized OS called the Rabbit OS, and this is basically just an interface for connecting the web portal as far as I can tell. Push the talk button you can see there. Far-field mic, rotational camera, the scroll wheel we talked about. So USB-C, and then a SIM card slot. So there is no subscription fee for this, but you do have to pay for a cell phone plan to put a SIM card in this bad boy. Let's see. Dual microphone array, 2.88-inch screen, USB-C connector. So it does do video, 1080p, 24 frames a second. It's got an 8 megapixel camera, 4 gigabytes of memory, and 128 gigabytes of storage. I'm guessing that's probably just for images since this thing doesn't really run apps. All right, so it's good with generative AI, food, vision, rideshare, music. Plan, points of interest, search, reservations, ticketing, mobile, and desktop teach mode. I'd be interested to see what that is. Experimental web teach mode. Not really certain on that. Let's take a look at the Rabbit OS, called a large action model. Griffith journals for you. So here we go. There's a web portal that you connect to this to, similar to the Humane Pen, and then you can link your apps to it, your music apps, whatever you've got subscriptions for. You can link all that here, your food. I'd be interested to see. I want to see what this teach mode does. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. You can basically train this Rabbit R1 device using the teach mode to do certain tasks for you like you would do on a desktop or mobile phone or web right now, it looks like. And then they're going to have a Rabbit store where you can monetize each of your own integrations. That's super fun. I did not realize it did that. I'd love to see a list of actually which apps go into this though. And that's the Rabbit R1 device. It's interesting for sure. I like the idea of having an AI device that's dedicated. But at the same time, my thought on this is Apple's releasing their own GPT that I assume is going to be Siri, right? You assume that at some point, the way they've already got iOS shortcuts set up, that you'll be able to use Siri or Apple GPT with the shortcuts to sort of automate everything the same way and still have access to a phone if you want to sit and watch videos or you want to watch YouTube or whatever on your phone. I think the idea of having these devices is great. But at the same time, I don't know why we can't just run an app on my smartphone that does everything the Rabbit does. In fact, I'm fairly certain we could. But I'll probably at some point, I'm not going to fight the crowd to get a Rabbit right now. They're selling out really fast to people that want them, and that's awesome. I'm not that excited about it because I do have ChatGPT on my phone. I've got Copilot on my phone. I've got shortcuts to Bard on my phone. I can do everything that these can do already on my smartphone. So that's sort of an issue for me. I'll probably get the Rabbit device at some point just because I'm sort of a tech nerd and I like to play around with new gadgets. And I do think it's a fun device. I just don't know that it's necessary just yet. I'm more excited to see what we do in the smartphone plays. We saw the new Galaxy has the Galaxy AI coming out in it. We've seen that Apple's working on their own AI. And we have to imagine at some point that Google's going to put Bard or some version of AI into their Pixel phones as well. So with all this AI coming into the hardware, I had imagined I'd be able to hit the Siri button on my phone and it automatically be able to order me a pizza or order me an Uber or be able to tell me, hey, is this safe to eat or not? So how much of your personal life do you want AI to already have? And granted, I get that the cell phone already knows where we're at all times. It already knows what we're doing. And that's not me being a conspiracy guy. That's just me saying, hey, protect yourself. Cybersecurity is a big issue right now. And anything that makes you an easier target, obviously, we want to avoid. I think the Rabbit R1 device is going to be a fun device to play around with, and I'll be excited to see what people do with the teaching mode, where they can sort of customize their own agents. That'll be a lot of fun. I think the Humane Pen is just a really slick, beautiful looking piece of hardware. The projection option is super fun. But again, let's see where this technology goes. Now, before we end this video, let's talk real quick about the OpenAI device. Now, all we know right now is that Sam Altman from OpenAI has been in discussion with Jonathan Ive, who helped design a lot of the Apple products that we know and love, the iPad, the iPhone. All of that stuff was Jonathan Ive. And he's the guy that's supposed to be working on the OpenAI device, being rumored as the iPhone of AI. Now, as far as we know, this OpenAI device is not intended to replace a cell phone. We don't really know what that looks like. It's just going to be a device that has access to ChatGPT on it. If so, this is another device that I don't necessarily know if we need just yet because we can do all those on our cell phone already. So for me, in terms of hardware, I'm going to wait and see what that device is before I make a decision. I'll probably end up going with the Rabbit R1 if I had to choose between what's available right now. But I have to wait and see what OpenAI brings to the table. It's going to be super exciting to see. And on top of that, I'm excited to see what Apple brings to the table with the stuff they're doing. I can't wait to see where all this goes. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. It helps support the channel, helps me grow, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.